I've added the content to the 3 pages in the Fluid Grid Layout site, so now's the time to show off the real power of snapping fluid elements to the layout grid. But before doing so, let's take a quick look at the style sheet that makes it all possible. So in the Related Files toolbar, I'm going to select fluid.css. That opens it in split view, and you can see that Dreamweaver has been creating style rules for the classes and IDs of all the fluid elements that we added to the page. And if I scroll up, you can see that there is a media query, only screen and minimum width 769 pixels. So this is for desktop. Scrolling up further, we have the same selectors, but this time they're inside another media query for screen and minimum width 481 pixels. In other words, for tablets. And scrolling up even further, we have the same selectors again. These aren't inside a media query, these are global selectors, and they'll apply to the mobile phone layout and also to any browsers that don't understand media queries. So what's going to happen when you start snapping the layout to the column grid is that Dreamweaver will be creating separate style rules in those media queries so that browsers of different screen resolutions will lay out the page differently. So let's close split view, and then we need to turn on the layout grid, and then first go to the mobile size, select that icon in the status bar at the bottom. And this is the way that the page will look when it's on a mobile phone. For the moment, ignore the way that the page is actually styled. It's the layout that you're interested in. So if we scroll down, you can see that everything is stacked on top of each other. And that's going to work quite nicely for a mobile phone. So I'm going to leave that exactly as it is. But let's work with the tablet layout. Click Tablet Size down here. I'm happy with the top and the hero, but I want to make a change to the intro article. So I'm going to click inside to select it, and on the right hand side you have handles to resize fluid elements. And if I start dragging, it will tell me the number of columns. If I'm dragging now, it tells me 8 columns. Continue dragging, 7 columns. I'm not actually at the 7th column now, but if I release my mouse button, it will snap automatically. And then on the left hand side is what is called the shift handle, and I can now shift 1 column across, and my article is now centered with 1 column empty on each side. So let's move down a little, and here we've got the teaser articles. I'm going to click inside the figure here and then use the right handle to resize the figure, and I'm going to go down to, what should we do, 5 columns. Then into the teaser text, and I need to make that 4 columns, and then I can float it, move it up a row like that. And I'm going to do the same with this one. I'm going to resize it. When you resize, you always have to resize from the right hand side, and then move up a row, and that will float it alongside. And because it's a class that has been applied to them, it happens to all of the same teaser articles. Now down to the footer links sections. Click inside there. I've got 9 columns in my tablet layout, so I need it to be 3 columns wide. Resize from the right hand side, drag to 3 columns, and then click this up arrow, move up a row. That will float it. Now the problem is that Dreamweaver automatically puts a margin, a left margin, on these floated elements, so there's not enough room for this last one to come up. But you notice this little arrow at the top here, and it says apply zero margin tablet. If you click that, everything jumps into place. So let's work on the desktop layout. Click the desktop size icon at the bottom. Everything is still the full width because the styles that we created for the tablet aren't used by the desktop. That's controlled by a different media query. So let's go up to the top I'm happy with that there at the top. With this, I'm going to move it in, say 4 columns, and then move it across 2 columns. And then with the teaser articles, let's come inside. That's the teaser image. So I need to resize that. I'm going to resize it to 4 columns wide. Then I'm going to resize the teaser text to 2 columns wide and float that. And I'm also going to make the teaser link 2 columns wide. And then what I need to do is select the article and make that 6 columns wide. Then at the top here, click Move Up Arrow to float everything. We get that same problem as before, that there is this left margin. So if you just click that arrow, apply zero margin desktop, it moves across. And we need to do it with this one. Select in there, apply zero margin desktop. And the layout is beginning to look pretty good. With these teaser links, I'm going to just shift across 2 columns. And because they've all got the same class, they all move together. So we'll do the same with the footer links. This time they need to be 4 columns wide. Click that up arrow to float them, and then click that left arrow to apply zero margin desktop. And basically there are the 3 different layouts for desktop, tablet, and mobile phone. I also need to make some changes to these other 2 pages, but I think you get the picture. So let's just recap how those different tools work. If you click inside a fluid element, you resize from the right hand side. So if I resize there to 2 columns, and you can then shift by moving from the left hand side, and a fluid element will always snap to one of the columns. And the arrow that moves up a row, it says move up a row, basically what that does is it floats the elements. Now I don't want my top menu to be like that in the mobile layout, so all I do to move it back is just drag, and then I can resize by dragging on the right hand side. So once you've got the layout the way that you want it, you can start concentrating on the decorative part of your styles.